Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something they don't talk about enough: the man who walks alone. Not lonely, but alone. Not bitter, but better. Not lost, but focused. You know, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Society doesn't always understand that. They'll look at a man who lives alone, without a girlfriend, and assume he's missing something, that he's incomplete, left behind, or somehow out of sync with what life is supposed to look like. But what they don't realize is that solitude is often where the strongest foundations are laid. Solitude, when chosen, not forced, is not a place of weakness. It's a place of training. It's a space where you can hear yourself think. A space where the noise of the world doesn't drown out the voice of your own potential. The man who lives alone, who wakes up with discipline, who builds routines without applause, is doing something many can't. He's confronting himself every day. That kind of solitude forces you to look in the mirror, not just to check your reflection, but to confront your character. You learn where your mind goes when no one's watching. You discover what you truly value when there's no one to impress. That's deep work, the kind that can't be outsourced or rushed. That's where self-respect is formed, not just self-esteem. And Denzel Washington, time and again, has reminded us through his words and his life. Real growth happens in the dark, not under the spotlight. Now, here's the truth. Most people run from solitude because it exposes them. It strips away distractions. Without the noise, the parties, the constant company, they're forced to sit with the reality of who they are, and for some, that's uncomfortable. But for the man who embraces solitude, that discomfort becomes a tool, a mirror, a fire. Philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and modern thinkers like Viktor Frankl all taught the same thing. Mastering the inner world is more powerful than controlling the outer one. If you can be at peace in solitude, not just survive it, but thrive in it, then no external chaos can shake you. That's not weakness, that's power, that's maturity, and it's rare. Because let's be honest, we live in a time of constant validation. Likes, texts, attention. Everyone's looking for something to fill the silence. But the man who lives alone and doesn't need the noise, he's dangerous in the best way. He's grounded. He's clear. He's becoming someone that others will eventually follow, not because he chased after being impressive, but because he became authentic. So don't let the world convince you that your solitude is a sentence. It's a season, a sacred one. Use it. Let it shape you. Let it sharpen you. And when the time comes, when your moment arrives, you won't just be ready. You'll be undeniable. Asterisk, asterisk, your silence today is building the voice you'll need tomorrow. Asterisk, asterisk, you know, people talk a lot about leadership these days. Titles, influence, control. But real leadership, that doesn't start with managing others. It starts with managing yourself. Before you can lead anyone, especially in a relationship, you have to lead you. That's the part most people skip. They want the rewards of leadership without the responsibility of it. They want a partner, a girlfriend, a love story, but they haven't taken the time to build the man who can carry the weight of commitment. They haven't developed the emotional maturity, the discipline, or the sense of purpose required to be the kind of man someone else can trust. Living alone without a girlfriend isn't a sign you're not enough. It can be a sign you're in the process of becoming more intentional, more grounded, more complete. That solitude, that space, gives you the opportunity to confront your patterns, your beliefs, your habits, without the pressure of performing for someone else. Denzel Washington once said, asterisk, you pray for rain, you gotta deal with the mud too. Asterisk, everyone wants the beauty of a relationship, but few prepare for the responsibility of it. And leadership in any form, especially in love, isn't about control. It's about consistency. It's about being the same man on Monday morning that you are on Saturday night. It's about showing up every day, whether anyone's watching or not. That's why the man who walks alone has an advantage if he uses the time wisely. Because he's not being pulled in 10 directions trying to please someone else. He can focus. He can sharpen his mind, his values, his mission. He can get to know who he really is before expecting someone else to understand him. Psychologically, this is about identity formation. You're not just reacting to the world. You're defining yourself within it. And if you don't have a solid sense of who you are, any relationship you enter becomes a performance, not a partnership. You become whatever the other person wants, instead of standing firm in who you are. Philosophically, this is about integrity. The ancient Stoics talked about virtue, living in accordance with your highest principles, even when it's hard, even when no one sees it. The man who builds his character in private becomes unshakable in public. That's what makes him worthy of respect, not charm, not status, integrity. So don't wait for someone to come along and give you direction. Don't assume leadership begins when you find love. It begins now, in how you wake up, how you treat your body, how you talk to yourself, in the standards you set, and the ones you refuse to lower. Because if you can't lead yourself through silence, discomfort, and discipline, you'll never be able to lead anyone through life. Asterisk asterisk be the man you would follow. Asterisk asterisk we live in a world obsessed with speed. Everybody wants it now, success now, love now, the dream life now. And when it doesn't happen on our timeline, we start to question ourselves. We wonder if we're behind, if we missed the window, if we're somehow less because things aren't moving fast. But here's the truth, asterisk delay is not denial. Asterisk just because something hasn't shown up in your life yet doesn't mean it won't. It means you're being given time to become the kind of man who can handle it when it does. Denzel Washington put it simply, asterisk, dreams without goals remain dreams. Asterisk, and I'll add this, goals without preparation remain fantasies. Wanting something is easy. Everyone wants love. Everyone wants a strong relationship, someone to build with, someone who understands them. But very few take the time to asterisk, prepare asterisk for it. The man who lives alone, without a girlfriend, isn't falling behind. He's being refined. If he's intentional, he's laying brick after brick, building something solid, not for Instagram, not for applause, but for reality. Because when the time comes, when the right woman walks in, the foundation has to already be there. Otherwise, you're handing her blueprints for a house that hasn't even been started. That's why this season of delay is so important. Psychologically, it's about self-regulation. The ability to delay gratification is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success, not just in relationships, but in life. The man who can wait, who can be patient without being passive, is the man who understands that quality takes time. That pressure creates diamonds, but only if you stay under it long enough. Philosophically, it's the principle of becoming before receiving. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are prepared for. If you haven't built emotional endurance, spiritual clarity, and mental discipline, then even the best relationship can become a burden instead of a blessing. What was meant to elevate you ends up exposing your cracks. So don't envy those who seem to have it all figured out early. Don't compare your timing to someone else's highlight reel. Your journey is tailored to your growth. There are lessons in this season that you can't afford to skip. Lessons that don't show up in comfort, but in quiet, in doing the work no one sees. One day, someone will show up who's ready to walk with you, not carry you, not fix you, but walk asterisk with asterisk you. And when that day comes, you won't have to scramble to get it together. You'll already asterisk be asterisk together, not perfect, but prepared, not waiting, asterisk ready. Asterisk so instead of asking, why hasn't it happened yet? Start asking, what am I being prepared for right now? Asterisk asterisk your delay is not punishment. It's preparation for something greater than you can imagine. Asterisk asterisk, there's a truth people don't like to admit. Comfort can be a trap. It feels good, sure, it's warm, it's familiar, but it rarely produces anything meaningful. Denzel Washington said it best, asterisk, ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. Asterisk let that sink in. It's not the struggle that holds most people back. It's the soft life, the desire to stay safe, stay entertained, stay surrounded. But nothing grows in a place where you're never stretched. The man who lives alone, without a girlfriend, without a built-in comfort zone, he faces a kind of discomfort that most people run from, the silence. The self-doubt, the long nights, the questions. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also the perfect environment for transformation, asterisk, if asterisk he leans into it instead of escaping from it. We all want to be great, but greatness doesn't show up where it's easy. It shows up in resistance. Just like a muscle, you grow stronger under pressure. It's the friction of challenge that sharpens you, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. And when you strip away the distractions, the constant companionship, the empty validation, you're left with raw material, you're left with the real you. That's where the real work begins. Psychologically, this is about resilience. The ability to sit with discomfort and not escape it. Most people look for a way out the second things get hard. They want a relationship to numb the loneliness. They want entertainment to cover the silence. But the man who endures that internal heat, who stays present when things get heavy, he develops the kind of depth you can't fake, the kind of strength that doesn't crumble when life gets real. Philosophically, it's the principle of becoming forged rather than fabricated. There's a difference between an image and an identity. Image is what you show. Identity is what you build. Lone, under pressure, with intention. That's why solitude isn't a setback. It's a furnace. It burns away the weak parts of you, the excuses, the shortcuts, the distractions, and it leaves behind something pure, something real. Look around. Our culture celebrates the path of least resistance. But men of substance are not formed in comfort. They are built in the quiet hours, in the disciplined mornings, in the days when no one claps but you keep showing up anyway. You don't become that man by chance. You become him by choice. So if you find yourself alone, don't rush to fill the space. Let it shape you, let it push you, let it grow you. This is your edge. This is your advantage. Because when others run from pressure, you're being trained by it. And that's why you'll last when they fade. Hardship doesn't break the man who knows it's making him. There's a misconception we need to clear up. Being alone doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean you're undesirable, forgotten, or invisible. It might actually mean you're doing something most people aren't willing to do. Leveling up. C. Silence can feel like a void at first. No text messages lighting up your phone. No one waiting for you at home. No affirmation from a partner to remind you that you matter. And yet, in that silence is a doorway. A space to hear your own thoughts without interference. A space to design the man you want to become, not just react to the world around you. That's why solitude isn't about isolation. It's about evolution. The man who lives alone and uses that time wisely, he's not falling behind. He's getting ahead in a way most people won't even see until years later. While the world is scrolling, swiping, and performing for likes, he's training, reading, building discipline, refining his character, learning how to be at peace without external validation. That's not weakness, that's mastery. Denzel Washington once said, without commitment, you'll never start, but more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. And consistency in solitude is a kind of strength that can't be bought or borrowed. It's earned, day by day, one choice at a time. Psychologically, this is about internal versus external locus of control. Most people live on the outside. Their mood, their self-worth, their decisions all depend on what's happening out there. But the man who develops from the inside, who takes responsibility for his energy, his time, and his direction regardless of who is or isn't in his life, that man becomes unshakable. Because he's not reacting, he's creating. Philosophically, it's the foundation of Stoicism. Not to be cold or disconnected, but to be in control. The Stoics taught that the highest form of strength is self-governance. And the man who can sit in silence without falling apart is often the one most capable of handling success, love, and pressure when it finally arrives. So no, you're not lonely, you're just not distracted, and that's rare. Most people chase the next thing because they're uncomfortable with the stillness, but the stillness is where your power builds. Where vision gets clear, where peace becomes normal, not something you have to beg for in a relationship, but something you bring into one. If you can learn to enjoy your own company, sharpen your own mind, and regulate your own emotions, you become a man no one can destabilize. You stop chasing love out of need, and you start attracting it out of strength. Your silence isn't empty, it's full of preparation. Don't run from it. Rise in it. People often talk about finding the one, as if the right woman is going to show up and fix everything. Complete you, fill in your gaps, make life finally make sense. But that kind of thinking sets you up to depend on someone else for something you should have already built within yourself. A relationship isn't supposed to complete you, it's supposed to complement you. And that's only possible if you've already become whole on your own. When a man hasn't done the inner work, when he's still carrying insecurity, emotional instability, and confusion about who he is, he doesn't attract peace, he attracts chaos. He ends up looking for someone to fix him, to give him identity, to make him feel valuable. But no person, no matter how loving, can hold the weight of becoming your foundation. That's your job. Denzel Washington said, "You'll never be criticized by someone doing more than you. You'll be criticized by someone doing less." In the same way, you'll never attract a partner operating at a higher level if you haven't first elevated your own standard. You won't attract consistency if you haven't developed it in your own habits. You won't attract depth if you're living on the surface. You draw in what you reflect, not what you wish for. That's why this time of being alone isn't a delay, it's a decision point. Are you going to become the man who's ready, or are you just waiting for someone to save you from your own lack of preparation? Psychologically, this is about self-actualization. Abraham Maslow placed it at the top of his hierarchy of needs, the realization of your full potential. It's the point where you're no longer looking for someone to fill your emotional gaps. Instead, you're seeking partnership, not dependency. You're not asking someone to fix you, you're inviting someone to build with you. Philosophically, this is alignment. The idea that when you become grounded in your purpose, your values, your mission, the people who enter your life are either in sync with that, or they fall away naturally. You don't have to chase, convince, or manipulate. You simply are and what's meant for you recognizes that. So don't rush to find the one. Focus on becoming the man who's ready when she shows up. A man with emotional intelligence, spiritual clarity, financial stability, and a clear sense of identity. When you do that, the relationship won't be a lifeline, it'll be a legacy. Two whole people aligned, building something greater than either could do alone. The right woman won't complete your story, she'll join a story that's already worth telling. Make sure you're writing it well.